And this is 100% real. However, there is also another game that is at play. And this is where it is nuanced and hard to understand. Who brought these people in, and why did these people come here? These people were deliberately brought here to destabilize the West. And they were brought here mostly as a result of the foreign wars that we aided and abetted in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, and across the Middle East. All these wars were fought on behalf of the state of Israel. And the lobby, and was it the rabbi said that Islam will be the broom of Judaism in Europe. So it was intentionally done to destabilize Europe. And this is my anger at the likes of those that focus on this, Robinson, Fox, Murray. They will talk about all of this stuff, and they will never ever talk about who's responsible for it. And again, there's many layers in this pyramid of responsibility. The British government has been responsible for it. The Tories responsible for it as well. The media, these liberals, these cosmopolitan types, you know exactly who I'm talking about. They were also very much responsible for it as well. And look, I have to really say this. Nigel Farage is a complete charlatan, right? And Nigel Farage is now going to be sued by Jeremy Corbyn. Nigel Farage attacked Jeremy Corbyn. Listen to what Nigel Farage has to say here.
I said the Jewish community in North America had been massively successful in law, in business, and yes.
Well, actually, you didn't say that, Nigel. In 2017, you said they were overrepresented.
They did campaign for what they wanted. They did it within the law. They did it quite successfully.
They did it within the law, really? Like Sam Bankman-Fried did? Did Sam Bankman-Fried do his lobbying within the law, Nigel? Did Jonathan Pollard? Did it when the Israelis put bugs in the White House?
But I was never a subscriber to the madcap conspiracy theory.
The madcap conspiracy theory. It's interesting language, isn't it, from Nigel? Nigel, this guy is a con man. A total con man.
The Jews run the world.
I sent Piers Corbyn the link on email. I don't know where he is. We're expecting him on. I've said to Sean, so I emailed him over the link. So he's welcome on at any time.
On the world. But I tell you who was.
So,
that the Jews run the world. But I tell you what.
All right, so they don't. You know, and again, this is so disingenuous. The way they do these attacks like this, as I continuously point out. Look, I'm a researcher. I join dots. I engage in pattern recognition. It is impossible to deny the Jewish overrepresentation in American politics, American media, and American entertainment. And the entertainment industry includes Hollywood, the porn industry, and the music industry. This is just facts. Nearly the entire Biden cabinet is left-wing Zionist Jews. Okay, this is real. And the vast majority of them are behaving in ways that are conducive to betterment of their community and betterment of the state of Israel, using the United States of America. Because the United States of America is currently the global hegemon. Now, I won't be allowed on GB News to say this. I won't be allowed on the media to say these things. There's a risk that you could be arrested for saying these things. But it is demonstrably true. And again, what they do is, and it's so disingenuous, they say, well, they're all in on it together. Well, of course they're not. Okay, but there are peoples. These people then have leaders, and these leaders then lobby and act on behalf of the people. That's just how systems work, whether people like it or not. Yet Farage makes you think it's all just a big conspiracy theory.
I'll tell you who was. Yes, Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader that you supported. Yes, Jeremy Corbyn.
So Nigel Farage is just doing this. So this cartoon looks like a global conspiracy to me. Jeremy Corbyn replied to that piece of artwork. So the question is, why is Nigel Farage now shilling for the international Zionist lobby? Nigel Farage has also called into question the integrity of the Rochdale by-election. Why is Nigel Farage fighting on behalf of the British establishment? Why is Nigel Farage fighting on behalf of the regime when he regards himself as this outspoken member? Now, as our good friend Celtic Crusader pointed out, is Nigel Farage doing this because he thinks that he can co-opt the Zionist lobby's money, the Zionist lobby's anger? Does he think he can play that game? Maybe he thinks he's playing these games. Because, yeah, I mean, look, it's either money or he's been blackmailed. It's like, see when I say this stuff, yeah, Billy Club points it out. Garland, Newland, Schumer, Schiff, Blinken, Mayorkas, all of the senior positions in American politics right now, Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, US Federal Reserve, I know Jerome Powell isn't Jewish, they've all been Jewish. Like, as I said, I didn't come to this from a position of where I am dealing with reality. And it's real to deny it. But then you can talk about white people, you can talk about Russians, their actions, but when you talk about this, then you're an evil anti-Semite. You're the worst person in the world. And I think, again, my radar has been very attuned to what GB News is, because I did point this out at the time. It was just odd about GB News that it's being funded. Why are these hedge fund people funding it? And obviously since October the 7th, they've really shown their purpose.
Tonight on Farage, my response to Ofcom. We've announced an investigation into this programme on the basis that I'm a politician and should not be covering breaking news. I'll give you a full answer to that at 7 o'clock. Plus, George Galloway goes to the House of Commons for the Workers' Party. Is this a dark day for our country? And
why would it be a dark day? Why would George Galloway be...
Uncle Gary Goldsmith goes into the Big Brother house. Will he let the side down? I know.
What?
Goes into the Big Brother house.
Who?
Gary Goldsmith.
Kate Middleton's uncle goes into the Big Brother's house. Uncle Gary Goldsmith
goes into the Big Brother house.
This guy just looks totally corrupted to me. This guy, like, as I point out, you just know that it's classic bait and switch with what is really going on. And as I've said, what they've done very eloquently is they've co-opted anger of the British people over mass migration. Like, and Amanda says, I'll vote for George Galloway. And this is what I'm actually trying to get across to people, whether this is the wrong strategy or not. My analysis of it is that the mainstream conservative right is a disaster. They are liars, and they are deliberately engaged in subversion and subterfuge to try and stop you from seeing what is really going on and what should happen. And I know this is a hard pill for people to swallow, but my analysis of Galloway is chemotherapy. And basically what you're doing with chemotherapy, and look, okay, I'm using normal language here. The chemotherapy, you're trying to kill your body quicker than the cancer can kill you. So George Galloway is, in my opinion, and what he represents is the medicine that we may have to take in order to cure the wider disease. And look, I like George Galloway. I do, and I'm not going to lie about it. I like him. I think he handles the press well. I think he is really shaking things up. And I think there's an opportunity. I'm obviously going to be discussing this in more detail with Nick Griffin tomorrow night. Nick Griffin's taking a lot of stick over it. I've taken stick over it as well, but I'm just kind of showing you the bigger picture here. This is who's really in charge. What's happening underneath here doesn't really matter as long as these people are really in charge. They're being dealt with. Rabbi Burns says Galloway will create militancy within the Muslims, and our rights will be wiped out. What rights do we have? We don't have rights just now. Samuel has just gone to prison for putting up some stickers. If the regime decides to come after any of us, if it decides to come after me, if it decides to come after you, they will create a culture, a case. They will work with hope, not hate, and they'll destroy you. They'll get you put in prison. We have no rights. So, as I say, I am just pressing the nuclear option here, which I've said I am a radical. I'm not an anarchist, but I believe that the state of everything is so bad, we need a form of anarchy right now. We need this. You need this tree being shaken. And I think Nick Griffin and I will extrapolate more on that. But just stop thinking you live in a democracy. Stop thinking you live in a free and fair country. We don't. But my analysis of what's going on is that they're rattled by Galloway's presence. And he's vowed he's going to. So this is what Galloway had to say here. And have a listen.
Sunak has identified Muslims and Gaza as the proximate centre of that wedge issue that he intends to use as perhaps his only hope of re-election. It's quite clear that there's going to be a raft of measures that will take away still further freedoms from the British people. Freedom to speak, freedom to assemble, freedom to protest and to demonstrate, and if they had their way, freedom to elect people that the establishment doesn't like. That was also the meaning of his rather embarrassing impromptu performance outside number 10. And what do I mean by a wedge issue? They want to force Starmer either to stand up and defend the democratic rights of the British people, including the rights of its religious and ethnic minorities, and if he does that, I'm a Dutchman, or to engage him in what will turn out to be a Dutch auction of nastiness. If he chooses, as I suspect he will, the latter, that's going to allow us and independent
candidates. Yes, Brinjal, they are on the back foot with Galloway as they don't control him. So more of this is needed. Correct. And I'm asking you all to just, fine, you can hate him as much as you want. You can call him out for his hypocrisy. You can say he's not was rotten during COVID. Fine. All of these things are true. But the regime that runs this country is far more dangerous than him. All the guns, metaphorically speaking, should be pointed, all the artillery at the ruling regime, not at who the regime wants you to be focused on. The regime wants you angry at the pro-Palestinian supporters. The regime wants you angry at George Galloway. The regime doesn't want you angry at them, the ones that caused the mass migration, the ones that put this country in this state.
To pick up potentially millions of votes from those who treasure the free rights that we have enjoyed since the Second World War in this country and who wish to defend the Muslim communities in Britain. Either way, that suits.
And this is the other thing, the bigger picture, right? If Galloway is bringing identity politics into British politics and Muslims are getting looked after, very soon, white people will start getting represented. Okay? See, as well, that's why I hate... Yeah, he has condemned the rape gangs on numerous occasions. That's why I hate Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage is saying, I don't want any identity politics in this country. We need identity politics in this country. We need division because they created this mess and we need to find our way out of it.
So that's what I'm predicting here. The next election will be about Muslims.
It's true.
It will be about the taking away of civil liberties in this country. It's Sunak's last.
And the thing is, but what you need to understand is they're only doing that because to protect Israel and support Israel. They don't give a shit about you. Anyway, let's get back to where we were at. I want to carry on with this Farage stuff because this was annoying me so much today. Again, just listen to this.
Good evening. Well, historically, we have always been a great friend of Israel.
Historically, let me just type that out. We have always been a great friend. You lying cunt, Farage. Okay, do you know what? I can't listen to the guy. He's such a bellend. I'm so annoyed with this. This whole thing's a joke. It's contrived nonsense. It's contrived garbage. Nigel Farage is a stooge. He's a sellout. We all know who he is. We all know what he is. I just need to keep pushing that. Even if they had come in with curly hair and a hat on. That is the job of the border. So you actually have the border security doing their work. And Nigel Farage is outraged about it. And listen to him, honestly, I absolutely hate this guy. And somebody made a really good point yesterday as well. Like, they all have a meltdown over Extinction Rebellion blocking roads, but they're fine when the truck is like, yeah, they are the ultimate victims. They've started this whole thing, and you've got this bootlegger, Esoteric Knights of Malta, our good friend Rob. he suspects that they've probably got compromising footage and images of Farage. I would say that's probably correct. This guy's totally compromised. Yeah, exactly. I want you are finally seeing our border security being harsh, and Nigel Farage is outraged about it. Do you know how bad that is? Do you know how ridiculous the whole thing is?
Good evening. Well, historically, we have always been a great friend of Israel. Indeed, it was the Balfour Declaration in 1917.
You absolute fuck dick prick, Nigel. Honestly, I'm not a violent person, right? But see when I hear stuff like that, yeah, Envy, this is fucking sick. It is. This guy needs to be, like, again, him, Robinson, Hopkins, all these people need to be ruthlessly routed. I'm gonna tweet about that, about Farage. Yeah, from the very beginning. Yeah, the King David Hotel, the Sergeant's affair, selling weapons to the fucking Argentinians during the Falklands War. I know, I'm Fed posting now. I know. Do you know the temptation to Fed post? Used to like him. Now I detest him. Gav, Nigel Farage wouldn't come near this. I keep pointing this out. None of these guys will ever allow themselves to be interviewed by someone on the right or someone who would outflank them on these issues. This video was not published on Twitter. This video was in his Reel section in Instagram, and this was actually filmed on the D. Now, look, as I've pointed out, those 3 ex-servicemen that were killed in Gaza were deliberately targeted. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. They were telling the IOF where they were, and the Israelis assassinated them. So this isn't just a case of some aid workers getting... This is what really annoys me. This isn't some, like, what the way Farage and all these GB News types are trying to frame it as well. All these do-gooders, this is what you get if you're in the Middle East. These guys were clearly working for the intelligence services. These guys were clearly at the height of their game in terms of overall fitness, etc. And they were clearly assassinated by the Israelis. The Israelis have a track record of killing British soldiers. So listen to what Farage had to say about it and how he poo-pooed it.
So horrible to see 3 British aid workers killed in Gaza this week, and now big demands for us to stop giving weapons to Israel. Do you know, folks, in every war, there are lots of people killed.
Wow, I mean, that's why you're a multimillionaire politician. With statements like that, in every war there are lots of people killed. Instead of Mao's red book, you should have Farage's red book.
People killed by so-called friendly fire. We've had it ourselves when we fought alongside the Americans.
Do you know what I hate about this? Is he's totally misdirecting people. This is what a con man does. These guys were deliberately killed by the Israelis. They assassinated people who served for our country. Once upon a time, we would have gone to war for that. Aaron Bastani actually put that up about the Greek government. One time in Greece, there was a British person was unfairly treated, and they sent the Navy in.
Israel is fighting for its very survival as a nation.
Does he honestly think that? Farage has spoken about the Jewish lobby before. Farage knows about Zionism, the influence. He knows all this. Therefore, he is saying this stuff because he is a liar.
You know, what happened on October the 7th is going to happen again and again unless the Hamas terrorists are beaten. I know what I'm saying to you is very much a minority voice at the moment.
Yeah, and the reason it's a minority voice is because most people are actually appalled by the scenes that they've witnessed from Gaza.
Israel being painted out at all levels to be evil, to be bad.
Yes. I mean, they are. Like, they blatantly are. The thing is, like, here's the fundamental thing about it. See if Israel were doing their thing over there. That's you. I would say, look, I'm appalled by this. I totally condemn this. But that's where I would draw the line at. What the problem is, it's the subversion, the Zionist subversion of the West. The fact that we have fought their wars for the last 25 years, if not longer. The fact that many Zionists push degeneracy, they push open borders on the way. Like that. That's where this is so horrific to support them now. It's what they do to us. And the thing is, I put that out the other day. Name 3 things, three things that Israel have done for us, and it's only these glib responses. They're fighting there, so we don't have to. Yeah, that was proven to be bullshit in 2005. They're a democracy. All right, great. They believe in gay rights. All right, wow, definitely. Wow, that I'm going to support them now.
But remember what they're up against. They're up against the Iranian-backed terrorists, and they're fighting for their very survival. I don't think we should boycott weapons to Israel.
Do you know what that is? That's just
horrible to see 3 British aid workers killed.
His cameo. You remember he did those cameo videos? You know, where he gets paid to do that. And that's all he's doing now. That's cameo videos for Israel.